So, I'm going to be doing a normal math video for the first time. It seems like quite a little bit. Got a comment recently, asking how to solve an indefinite integral. So that's what we'll be doing here today. So the example we have here is 3x squared plus 5 e to the x. Obviously, your integral sign looks like a weird, like S type symbol. So the first step you're going to want to do here is split the integral into two separate parts, which, keep in mind, is going to make it that, basically. Oh, yes, and your dx's are also important here. I did forget to add them in here. But yes, the dx's are important as well in order to put them into here. Next, what you're going to want to do is factor out anything outside of, to put anything outside of the integral signs, which in this case is going to be the free x only. I'm sorry. It's going to make it look like this, basically. It's going to make it look like... It's going to look a little bit weird, but you'll kind of see, like, what's happening here. It'll basically make it look like that, as you can't tell. Next, what you're going to want to do is use the power rule. Now, what does that actually do? Simply put, you can use it on that first term, but you have to use the exponential on the second term. Now, e to the x doesn't really do anything, so that's just going to remain as is. E to the x, if you reduce the exponential rule, doesn't really change anything. Now, you're going to want to have your plus c on the end here. And then what you're going to want to have, since we are using the power rule, keep in mind that's x2 plus 1 over whatever your term is that's being added here. So really, it's just set up like this in this circumstance. So really what we should have left, you're going to want to cancel out any common terms next. And what you'll be left with is this as follows. So basically, split out the terms, move your numbers here to the other side of the integral, then use any rules necessary. For this problem, it's going to be the power rule and the exponential rule. And then cancel out any common terms may have left. So keep in mind, the next thing that they'd want you to do is verify it. If you know that that's the correct answer, you don't necessarily have to do that. You can if you want to. It doesn't really matter what you end up doing. But I'll load up another example here. probably the last example and I end up showing, but the other example that I'll be using here would be, so they have this one done a little bit differently, but it's the same sort of process. Basically, you have the integral of 4x cubed minus 2x to the to no sort of power plus 5 and then dx on the outside. Basically, this one, same process as the last one, but I'm going to go through it a little bit quicker. So this is just raise the exponent, basically just that. This next one, basically you can kind of see what's going on here. But in terms of like what's going to happen, I can just make it this. I can just narrow it down to what it's about to become. Essentially, I can make it that. Obviously, all of the dx's are important. I did forget to add those. That's perfectly fine. But in terms of what would happen, you would have some cancellation here. Basically, essentially what's about to happen is you would have some cancellation here. I just didn't show that. I just didn't show that process. You would probably be, no, actually. You don't have any cancellations on that last one. You do have some cancellations with the ones in the middle. You'd have to cancel at the 2s and the 4s. Essentially what happens here is you'd have 4 x to the 4th over 4, and it would be canceled out to get you that. It's the same with that 2x squared. It's the same process. I just decided to make it a little bit quicker. Show like, hey, you need to add a power here and here. Not necessarily there. Oh, yes. Do not forget the plus c. The plus c is important every single time. If you're doing an indefinite integral, you're going to want to remember the plus c. I could do one more example, but I feel like at this point you probably know the gist of what's going on. Basically, add any powers you need to add, or do what I did in the first example. It's not that hard of a process once you figure it out. It can be complicated at times, but when you understand it, it's really not that bad. Being said, I'll give you an example to try on your own. Which I think I'll give you. How about I want to make that into a free. Now, try solving that one. And that's pretty much where I'll end this video.